Go grab it.
Almost ready?
Yeah.
He needs a pencil.
Is the volume on? Is the volume on for the video?
How do you check your volume on this? Should work. Okay. Good. So our presentation was over zebra and quagga mussels. They are invasive species.
We're going to start by showing you a video, kind of just a general overview of what they are and what they do.
Sorry.
There's something therapeutic about the sounds of water splashing against the shore. But all is not well beneath these tranquil waves. Invasive zebra and quagga mussels are infecting many of our lakes in ways never before experienced or even imagined. Thousands of these invaders drop to the floor each time commercial fisherman Jeff Wheatmore releases his gill nets into Lake Michigan.
It's hard to imagine, but our scientist at NOAA, who studies life on the bottom, has estimated that there are over 4 quadrillion mussels on the bottom of the lake.
These destructive mussels blanket the floor of big and small lakes alike. They have invaded 20 states, lurking in hundreds of inland lakes and 6 major rivers. And they stick themselves to everything.
So if you take a look at a pipe that mussels have entered, now you've got a problem.
Utility pipes and machinery often get clogged with massive amounts of sticky mussels, and it's costing us millions.
Right now, it's probably between 15 and 20 million a year to control them at the pipes.
But that's only part of the problem.
They can change the ecosystem in ways you don't want the ecosystem changed.
Hungry zebra and quagga mussels are literally sucking in plankton, a critical part of the food chain and necessary for the survival of game fish. And the mussels have a voracious appetite.
A zebra mussel the size of my thumb can filter a liter or roughly a quart of water a day.
The only way these invasives can get into a lake is when a recreational boater or angler inadvertently puts them there. When traveling from one body of water to another, they either forget or don't know how to rid their boats of microscopic larvae.
Most larvae are virtually invisible to the naked eye. There's about 100 zebra mussel larvae in this file.
The only prevention method is to clean, drain, and dry your boat every time you take it out of the water.
Make sure that you don't move water of any kind from one body of water to another. That means the bait buckets and the live wells and anything else that might be contained in your vessel.
It's the only way to stop these invasive aquatic hitchhikers, known as the silent invaders.
So that was our video on the quagga and zebra mussels. As you can tell, they do quite a bit of damage to the environment, and they also destroy all of the infrastructure in the water and clog it up, all the pipes and stuff. So they cause millions of dollars in damage, and that's not good. That's a picture of a zebra / quagga mussel.
The problem is that the quagga mussel grow and reproduce quickly. Once they're in the water, it's very hard for them to get out of. They're filter feeders, and they eat most of the food at the bottom of the food chain, leaving little food for like the big game fish like bass. They eat the plankton, which is what the bass eat. You think of the notes? You don't need to take it.
So you guys all have the prototype, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the prototype is kind of like what we're going to do and how we're going to solve this thing. So right here we have an inspector. That's one of our things. We're going to have an inspector, and they're going to have to like look over the boat to make sure the boat's clean. If the boat is clean, you can see from the first one, if the boat's clean, inspector's happy, you get to move through, you get a stamp in your hand, all is good. The next one, if the boat has these quagga mussels or the zebra mussels on the boat, it's no good, and you either won't be able to go into the lake, or you're going to have to do a thorough cleaning job and then re-inspect it once again to make sure it's all good. And then option number 3, that if you were to go into the lake without one of these inspectors telling you to do so, like without them allowing you to go in, it would potentially lead to jail time or just a serious fine. So a lot of that was in the solution. We're going to get get an inspector, maybe just like a local, just someone local in the area who wants to help out on the every entrance point and on every exit point of the lake to make sure no one's coming in without their supervision. We're going to charge, or we're going to pay these people about $10 an hour. Kind of depends on the time of year and everything like that, and depends how busy it is. But I think that is our best way to, excuse me, that is our best way to try to stop this as a whole.
So the steps we would take is the first week of boating season to mid-spring to late summer. The investigator will work on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because those are the busiest days, and more inspectors would be hired around holiday times like Memorial Day and the 4th of July, when boating becomes more popular. And then, yes. The budget would be $10 an hour per investigator. Those rates could rise or plummet depending on the time of the year and major holidays and such. And the investigator will be at Colorado Parks and recreation person or a homeowner on the lake they live at.
This is an invasive species, and it's important to, this is a problem because they do cause damage to the environment. They do cost around $120 billion per year, and that we pay for lakes and stuff like that, and it can ruin your boat if not cleaned well, and pipes, like earlier in the video.
There's another picture of the quagga mussel, and see how fast they can reproduce. They're actually called the rabbit of the sea because they reproduce so quickly. As you can see here, they just completely covered this propeller, and that's the kind of damage it'll do. It'll stop working completely if you see here they have this much muscles on them. It's ridiculous. And that's our presentation.
Do you guys have any questions?
That's not the question you're looking for.
And so, like you said, this species is specific to Colorado?
They've been
Not specific.
They were introduced at some point by someone who probably did not clean their boat properly and entered the water. They've been, as the video said, I believe it was 20 different states have been invaded by the zebra and quagga mussels, and they're destroying the environments of the water by altering the water level, altering the water's chemistry, and eating the plankton that the big game fish eat to survive.
Okay.
Any more questions?
No. We always, when we go boating, not my boat, when we go boating, we always have to get inspected.
Mhm.
I knew it was a problem, I didn't realize it was like that.
It's very bad. Lots of damage. And
Yeah, his name is Mr. in front of us. He took us on boating and he didn't have a break the plane. I was like,
Really?
What lakes in Colorado are affected? What major lakes?
We know.
I think there's one up in Pueblo.
Yeah, Big Lake and Pueblo.
Big Lake and Pueblo.
And then we
Parts
don't.
of Lake Powell, but that's in Utah.
And they could be in smaller lakes that we don't have any idea that they're even around in there yet.
A lot of times they're really hard to pick up on just because they're so small, and by the time you find them, there's probably already hundreds of thousands in the lakes,
Yeah,
if not millions, just because of their rapid reproduction rate and just because they're hard to find. They're so small that sometimes people don't even know they have them on their boats.
Like when I used to live in Omaha, we had a huge lake called Lake Zeritsky, and a Boy Scout was picking up trash on there, and he saw one on the lid of a pop can, and it was the size of a pop tab, and they had to clean out the entire lake by draining it, and it was drained for about 2 years, and they had to get rid of everything. And now it's very serious down there where they only allow certain things on the boat or on the lake.
Is there a way to eradicate it other than just, you have to kill the whole lake? Either drain it or kill the whole lake? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty much if they're in, they're gonna stay there unless you.
If you catch it early, I think it's probably the best bet. If you before or maybe like the early stages of it, I think. But once they reproduce, it's kind of like they're gonna keep coming. So
Cool. Good job, guys.
thank you.
Good job.